sometimes change can be good. Seriously, there's no punchline. Change is good.
Absolutely.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 best video game jumps from 2D to 3D. For this list, we'll be taking a look at video games that successfully took leaps of faith into the 3D world. These are the games that went from outstanding to phenomenal as they set the bar high for the next generation of gaming.
Is it possible? It's possible.
We'll only be looking at a franchise's first 3D attempt, and we're giving priority to games that proved to be influential to the gaming industry. Number 10, Donkey Kong 64. Donkey Kong. In 1981, Donkey Kong was just a giant ape who tossed barrels at a guy. Years later, King Koopa, or Bowser if you would prefer, ended up taking the #1 spot as Mario's nemesis, which meant DK was technically out of a job. In 1994, things changed up for the banana lover, with some help from Rare and a spiffy red tie. DK had a series of amazing 2D adventure games, and then one great 3D platformer, similar in style to Banjo-Kazooie. Not only was the transition to 3D successful for the franchise, but it also introduced the world to the iconic DK rap.
He's the leader of the bunch, you know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail.
Number 9, Ninja Gaiden Xbox. Ninja Gaiden. There's a lot of concerns when someone tries to evolve a legendary 2D franchise. Ninja Gaiden was, and still is, hailed for being one of the best games on the NES. Fortunately, much like the NES version of Ryu Hayabusa, the Xbox Ninja is hailed for being one of the best on that console.
You seem to have quite a way with the ladies, my friend.
This new incarnation still retained the spirit of the original. The challenge was still there and was still just as enjoyably frustrating and rage-inducing, but now we had better visuals, smooth, stylish gameplay, and the kind of violence we always imagined when we cut into those annoying birds on the NES. Number 8, Duke Nukem 3D. Duke Nukem.
Hail to the king, baby.
It's hard to believe that this franchise didn't start out in 3D, since that's what it's most known for. But it's true, this all started as a 2D platformer that looks nothing like the series we know today. When Duke got his 3D makeover, we not only got a drastic improvement in graphics and gameplay, but Duke gained that kick-ass persona he's now known for.
I'm Duke Nukem, and I'm coming to get the rest of you alien bastards.
Oh, and strip clubs. We also got strip clubs.
You wanna dance?
No other Duke Nukem game has been able to top the very first 3D one, even the long-awaited 2011 sequel. Hail to the king, baby.
Rest in pieces.
Number 7, Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy. Nothing about this franchise is final, and we wouldn't have it any other way, to a certain extent, but we're not going to get into that. Instead, we're going to remember the good old days when it felt like every release had fun gameplay, wonderful storytelling, memorable music, and gorgeous visuals, especially for 1997. Final Fantasy VII is what really put the series on everyone's radar, so much so that we still pretend like we're fluent in Latin. Say what you will about the game, but there's definitely a reason why fans praised Gaia for that remake announcement. Number 6, Fallout 3. Fallout.
Welcome, welcome.
Van Buren, the code name for the original Fallout 3, was being developed in the same style as the previous games, until the PC development team was laid off in 2003.
And now the monsters are attacking my people.
5 years later, we received a completely new game that looked and played nothing like the originals.
Just take a look at it first. Go easy.
This Fallout was an action RPG, not the turn-based style it had once been known for. But the open-world, post-apocalyptic environment still remained, and honestly, never looked so intense.
Well, it's a dangerous place out there in the wastes, right?
This may not have been the Fallout games that some fans had been expecting, but most have come to love it.
Now, let me take a few notes, and I'll handle that nasty radiation with a bit of my own homemade rat cure concoction.
Number 5, Metroid Prime. Metroid. Nothing said action in the 1980s like a beefed-up guy with a gun, or a badass female bounty hunter. The 2D Metroids were praised by gamers. Unfortunately, it would take 8 years to get another release after Super Metroid. and it was revealed to be a first-person shooter. This worked surprisingly well. While the action has always been important to Metroid, the exploration is really what set it apart from everything else. Prime remembered that, and opened the world in new ways as gamers got to see through Samus's eyes. It was the best move the series ever made. Number 4. Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear. There was a time when Metal Gear wasn't quite solid. We wonder if Otacon would be proud of us for that one.
You know me?
The stealth was still a key component to the original, only players had a top-down view of the action as they snuck around. While some games on this list had people concerned with the move to 3D, this is a case where most people didn't put up that much of a fuss.
I can read you like an open book.
The original wasn't terrible by any means, it's just that we knew we wanted more from it, and knew that it could be better. And better is exactly what we got.
You guys were real heroes.
There are no heroes in war.
Number 3. Grand Theft Auto 3. Grand Theft Auto.
Get some wheels to the safe house at St. Mark's and pick up a few friends of mine. They're hitting the bank and they need a driver.
The crime, theft, and violence has always been a staple of the series, though it may have been hard to tell with the 2D top-down view and cheesy announcement of
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto 3 feels like the game that the series always wanted to be, but hadn't been able to accomplish back in the 90s.
Is this going to be the biggest selling game ever?
Absolutely. It'll do, as you said, bigger than any Hollywood production ever. I mean, this game is massive.
The move towards 3D showed a much better depiction of crime and violence, and the plot was led by an all-star cast of actors and actresses. Not only a revolution for the series, it also set the precedent for sandbox games everywhere.
Are you a punch bag? Oh!
Number 2. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. The Legend of Zelda. They say it's not about the destination, but the journey. Clearly, they are Legend of Zelda fans. Zelda is a franchise where starting with the classic 2D or the newer 3D doesn't really matter because they're all outstanding games. It's damn near impossible not to enjoy the original or its transition into 3D. The sense of adventure is grand, the gameplay is amazing, the visuals are always stunning. It's everything you could possibly want. Before we take our final jump into the third dimension, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. Number 1. Super Mario 64. Super Mario series. There's no denying the influence that Mario has had on the video game industry. After continuous successes in the 2D realm, it was only a matter of time before he'd take a crack at 3D. Much like the phenomenal Super Mario World on the SNES, Mario's adventures on the next generation of consoles served as a launch title. It not only set the bar for literally all of the games that would come after it, including a few of the other games on this list, it created the Mario that we all know and love today. That's the flipping, punching, enthusiastic, wahoo kind of Mario. Mamma mia.
Here we go!
Do you agree with our list?
I'd ask around town.
What's your favorite transition to 3D for video games? For more top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
What's wrong? Snake!